If you carried the most important weapon in an American infantry squad during World War II, your chances of surviving once combat began were grim. Bar gunners were expected to last about half an hour after the first shots were fired. That was the brutal estimate. The reason was simple. German troops quickly learned that the fastest way to cripple an American squad was to eliminate the man carrying the automatic rifle. Take him out, and the squad's firepower collapsed. But combat in Europe wasn't the beginning of this weapon's darker legacy. Long before it struck fear into German infantry, the bar had already earned a reputation on American streets. During the Prohibition era, it became the weapon of choice for some of the country's most violent criminals, blasting through police vehicles and killing officers who had little chance of stopping it. Before we can understand why German soldiers came to dread this gun so deeply, we have to look at why it was created in the first place. That story begins in the trenches of World War I, where attacking infantry faced a deadly problem no existing firearm could solve. The issue was timing. Artillery could soften enemy trenches before an assault, suppressing defenders and forcing them underground. But that barrage had to end before friendly troops advanced, or the attackers would be shelled along with the enemy. In the crucial minutes between the artillery lifting and the infantry reaching the trench line, defenders would emerge, set up machine guns, and massacre men crossing open ground. Traditional fire and maneuver tactics offered little help. When part of a unit fired while the rest moved, the advance slowed to a crawl, and only a fraction of the force was shooting at any given moment. What armies needed was a way to maintain constant fire, while the entire assault line advanced together. The French found an early, imperfect solution with the Chauchat. Its reputation today is terrible, but it proved something revolutionary. One soldier could carry automatic fire forward during an attack. French assault teams used Chauchats not only for suppressive fire, but to hunt enemy machine guns, advancing with grenades and automatic fire to knock them out. The idea worked. The execution did not. The Chauchat was awkward to fire from the hip. Its long recoil system produced uneven recoil, and its exposed components snagged on everything. American troops, using .30-06 conversions, found them even less reliable. Still, the concept was sound. Portable automatic fire could transform infantry assaults. Heavy machine guns already existed, but they were defensive weapons. Their weight, water cooling systems, and large crews made them useless for advancing across no man's land. You couldn't assault a trench while dragging a Maxim behind you. The U.S. Army explored alternatives, including a French-designed light machine gun that performed well in testing. But manufacturing challenges and costs killed the program. Eventually, the task of designing a new weapon fell to John Moses Browning. By then, Browning was the most experienced firearms designer in the world. If anyone could solve the problem of mobile automatic fire, it was him. Browning envisioned a very specific weapon, a portable rifle chambered in .30-06, capable of both semi-automatic and full automatic fire, durable enough to function in mud and debris, and fed by a magazine larger than the standard service rifle. The final magazine capacity settled at 20 rounds. Larger magazines were tested but proved too unwieldy, especially when firing prone. The weapon was built around a single tactical idea known as walking fire. Groups of soldiers armed with bars would advance toward enemy positions, firing primarily from the hip and mostly in semi-automatic mode. The goal wasn't precision. It was suppression. Enough bullets in the air to keep defenders pinned while the assault closed the distance. At close range, during the final rush and trench fighting, the selector would switch to full automatic for short, violent bursts. In concept, this resembled later assault rifles, primarily semi-automatic weapons with an automatic option for close combat. The difference was that the bar fired a full-power .30-06 cartridge. Controlling that recoil was difficult, but the payoff was devastating range and stopping power. Browning even designed the fire selector with stress in mind. It was stiff by intention. Switching from semi to full auto was easy, but returning to safe required deliberate force. This prevented soldiers under pressure from accidentally leaving the weapon on safe at the worst possible moment. The original bar weighed about 16 pounds, significantly lighter than weapons like the Lewis gun. That weight difference mattered. Shoulder fire was part of the design. The sights were borrowed from the Model 1917 Enfield rifle, giving the bar surprisingly good accuracy for an automatic weapon. Production, however, was chaotic. Colt, Winchester, and Marlin were all involved, and disputes caused delays. At one point, Browning himself refused to participate in Winchester demonstrations due to prior conflicts. By the end of World War I, about 52,000 bars had been produced, with most shipped overseas. Yet many units continued using Chow Chats at the front, while bars sat in reserve. This was intentional. General Pershing feared that early limited use would allow Germans to capture and study the weapon. He wanted the bar deployed en masse, not trickled into combat. The bar finally saw combat in September 1918, just before the Meuse-Argonne offensive. Early reports praised its handling and reliability, especially compared to the Chow Chat. Data showed bars were far less likely to be abandoned during advances. The weapon even came with specialized gear. The gunner's belt included a metal cup designed to support the rifles, but during walking fire. Hip firing wasn't improvised, it was official doctrine. German reactions were immediate. Prisoners reported being shaken by the weapon's effect. But the war ended before the bar could fully prove itself. After the war, thousands of bars sat in National Guard armories with minimal security. During Prohibition, criminals took full advantage. Clyde Barrow adopted the bar as his preferred weapon, favoring its ability to penetrate car bodies, something the Thompson submachine gun struggled to do. In 1933, the Barrow gang stole multiple bars from an Oklahoma armory. Clyde modified them extensively, creating crude versions of what would later resemble the Colt Monitor. During shootouts, their firepower overwhelmed police armed with revolvers and shotguns. When Bonnie and Clyde were ambushed in 1934, their car contained multiple bars and hundreds of loaded magazines. Public outrage led directly to the National Firearms Act, imposing heavy taxes on automatic weapons. As another war loomed, the Army modified the bar. The M1918A2 eliminated semi-automatic fire, added multiple automatic rates, and increased weight with bipods and other attachments. The Army tried to turn the bar into a light machine gun, and failed. The added weight, fixed barrel, and complicated rate reducer caused more problems than they solved. Soldiers often removed the attachments entirely. In the field, many reverted to using the bar as Browning originally designed it. World War II production reached nearly 190,000 units. Doctrine made the bar the squad's only automatic weapon, with a three-man team built around it. Casualties among gunners were expected. Germans prioritized killing the barman first, knowing his loss crippled the squad. Captured bars were put into German service, alongside Polish-made versions seized in 1939. Against bolt-action riflemen, the bar was devastating. Against German machine guns, it was outmatched in sustained fire. Yet it filled a unique role no other American weapon could. In Normandy, in the Pacific, and in Italy, bar gunners performed extraordinary feats. Some held off entire units alone. Others charged pillboxes firing from the hip exactly as Browning had imagined decades earlier. In the Pacific, Marines expanded bar usage dramatically, eventually giving each fire team its own automatic rifle. Tropical conditions caused rust and rot, leading to plastic stocks and constant maintenance challenges. The 20-round magazine remained a limitation. The bar served through Korea and into the early years of Vietnam. Only in 1957 was it formally replaced by the M60 machine gun. A weapon designed for trench assaults in 1918 had served nearly 40 years in roles its creator never intended. And long after the war ended, its reputation endured, earned through fire, sacrifice, and the men who carried it knowing they were the first target.